Polygamy Part 45. Soon enough, both Nita and Zita began to slowly adapt to palace life. The grand halls, the intricate rituals, the constant attention of the royal household, it was a world far removed from the modest village paths they had grown up on. Nita, heavily pregnant now, moved with care, aware that every step she took carried the future of the kingdom in her womb. Zita, still yet to conceive after over 7 months of marriage, remained steadfastly at her sister's side, assisting her, cooking for her, preparing the bed, and keeping vigil over her rest. Whispers began to spread among the palace staff and even visitors. Some speculated that Zita might face the same fate as her mother, Felicia, who had waited more than 10 years before conceiving a child. Others said that the royal household was fortunate to have Nita, whose lineage and fruitfulness mirrored that of her mother, Alice, but with far more wisdom and grace. All this time, the royal household persisted, gently pressing Nita to set a date for her coronation as the crown princess. They reminded her that once the king passed on, she would automatically become queen as the first wife and the mother of a royal heir. But Nita, ever cautious, kept responding, "Not yet, not yet." Alice visited Nita frequently, teaching her tricks, sharing schemes, and whispering strategies into her ears. But Nita remained silent, simply listening. She weighed every word carefully, aware of her mother's ambitions but unwilling to let them cloud her own judgment. Alice pressed her point. "When is the crown princess coronation taking place?" she demanded, her eyes sharp. "Remember, when you're here, you must ensure they crown you the princess, even before you give birth. Even if you have a girl, and Zita ends up giving birth to a boy before you, you must remain the one and only queen of this kingdom. The crown princess can only be crowned once, Nita. And after that, nothing can undo it. Remember, I, Alice, will then be the queen mother. Don't forget that." Nita looked her mother squarely in the eyes, her voice calm but filled with curiosity. "Mommy, I thought your priority was freedom, the ability to return to this land and be with me. What changed? Now that you're back, why is nothing enough?" Alice's eyes glittered with ambition. "Don't say that, my daughter. Nothing compares to being called the Queen Mother. And for that to happen, you must first become the princess and queen. Look at the king, he is old and weak. Soon, he will join his ancestors, and then the crown will belong to the prince, your husband, and you. Together, we will rule Egbejo in our own way." Nita's heart sank. For the first time, she truly realized the depth of her mother's ambition. Her freedom had been granted, but not for her benefit, it had always been about power. Nita nodded uneasily, pretending to agree, while a small seed of unease grew in her chest. That evening, Alice finally left, her figure retreating into the night. "Don't forget what I told you," she warned. "And for that small rat, Zita, give her fire. Never let her compare herself with you. You're the first, she can be the fifth for all I care. Take care of yourself, my child. I will return soon." Nita remained quiet, her mind heavy with thoughts she could barely articulate. Her body was growing weaker, her pregnancy had advanced to the final stages. Unknown to the royal household, a special royal midwife had been sent weeks before her expected delivery date. When she arrived, Nita was shocked to see Mola, the little girl who had lived with Felicia and Alice years ago when both were pregnant. Mbola had grown into an accomplished midwife, respected even beyond neighboring villages. The reunion was warm, filled with laughter and tears. Nita and Zita embraced her tightly. Mbola smiled, pulling back. "Step carefully, Your Highness. I am your midwife now, and I respect your office," she said. "Forget the office. We missed you." Nita and Zita chorused. They led her inside, where she carefully checked Nita's pregnancy. Her hands were skilled, her eyes strained, but even she paused in concern. "Your Highness, the position of the babies, it seems unusual." I can feel one baby clearly, but I suspect there might be more. She reported to the king and the prince, her tone cautious. Her pregnancy is strange, but I will ensure the babies are safe. Zita, you must help care for Nita, cook for her, keep her comfortable, and watch over her rest. Just as your mother did for Alice. Days passed with careful preparation, and then, in the early morning, Nita's labor began. She clutched her stomach in pain as water broke, and her cries rang out across the palace corridors. The prince rushed to her side, holding her carefully as Mola guided them to the royal delivery room. Minutes later, the first baby, a girl, was born. Jubilation spread through the room. But before the midwife could finish her work, she realized another child was still in the womb. With practiced skill, she helped deliver a boy. The prince's joy knew no bounds. My first wife has given us 2 children, a girl and a boy, he cried, tears streaming down his face. But the celebration turned to panic. Nita's life was in danger. Mbola called frantically for the prince and Zita, while Zita held Nita's hands, whispering words of encouragement. Stay with me, Nita. You did it. You've given us the future. Open your eyes. Nita remained unresponsive. The prince and the king hurried to the delivery room, the palace filled with anxious silence. Mbola explained the severity of the situation. Nita had given everything, not only to bear the royal heirs but to protect her sister, Zita, and ensure the continuity of the kingdom. Finally, after moments that felt like eternity, Nita regained consciousness enough to speak. She revealed the truth to all. She had agreed to bear the children to protect Zita and the royal lineage, even knowing the risks to her own life. Her mother, Alice, had hoped to exploit the situation for power, but Nita had made her own choice, for righteousness, for love, and for her sister. I did this so not all evil goes unpunished, Nita whispered. I did this to show my mother, Alice, that greed and ambition cannot always dictate the path of destiny. And I did this to protect my sister, so she may live and rule. The truth struck the room like a thunderclap. Alice, furious and shocked, collapsed. Felicia and Zita wept over Nita, while Chief Odom retreated to a quiet corner, heartbroken. The prince clutched the newborn twins, his tears mingling with joy and sorrow. And then, as she had known it might, Nita's body gave way. Her final words were a blessing: may Zita be the crown princess after me. May Felicia be the queen mother. And may the name Nita be remembered for generations for righteousness and courage. She passed into the hands of the ancestors. Alice, in shock at the sight of her daughter's death, suffered a fatal heart attack and died a shameful death to be forgotten forever. Polygamy finale drops in few hours.